So, we've been making these daily updates on the Vancouver Canucks and their situation, and this time, we've got so many more things to take a look at, and it's to the point where I don't even know how long this video is going to be. I don't know if we're going to be able to use one gameplay, or if we're just going to have to use several, or maybe a full-length Canucks period. I'm not sure, but the way we're going to go about this, because it is the afternoon here, it's the evening actually of Friday, October 2nd, let's just talk about it, let's just ramble on, and no matter how long this is, we'll find a way to make it work. David Pagnotta on the fourth period tweeted this yesterday on the Vancouver, Arizona trade talks involving Oliver Ekman-Larsson. There's chatter Brandon Sutter might be part of a package to Arizona. He owns a 15-team no-trade list, and for what it's worth, I'm told that Arizona is not on that list. So we've seen these trade lists come into play. This actually happened recently with the Eric Staal trade, where Staal did not have the Buffalo Sabres on his no-trade list, meaning that he was an available option to be traded to Buffalo, which did happen. Brandon Sutter is in a different situation here because he's not really a guy that could provide the same upwards of 30 to 40 goal potential like an Eric Staal can. Instead, he would just be a money aspect of this move should he be included. $4.375 million cap hit. Let's continue, though. We have ourselves a few quotes from Elliotte Friedman. He did his radio hits on Sportsnet 590 The Fan, and he also did Sportsnet 960 as well. Here's what he said on 590 earlier today. Oliver Ekman-Larsson gave Arizona two teams. Boston has taken their shot with their offer, and Vancouver has done the same in the past 24 hours. Ekman-Larsson wants a deal done soon, or to know that he is going to stay. Arizona asked for more teams, so there are now poker negotiations going on between all of the parties. So that's a very interesting perspective over here, the fact that each of the parties involved are kind of poking their heads out a little bit, not really going super hardball on it, but they're trying to get a deal done regardless. Arizona wants more teams, etc. Let's continue. The big thing that Elliotte Friedman said, and I believe this was on 960, Sportsnet 960 that is, was said earlier today when he mentioned that he thinks Troy Stecher is going to end up going. He did mention the usual, a lot of their moves depend on if they can move some money or buy someone out, but there's a name. That's a name right there, Troy Stecher, who, if he gets involved in these Ekman-Larsson trade talks, it would be a D for a D, a soul for a soul over here. A right guy for a left guy, replace the right side player with, I don't know, a Brogan Rafferty or something, and re-sign Tanev because you don't have to re-sign a Stecher anymore. It's gonna be very interesting to see if that does happen, but again, Tony Stretcher, a Richmond boy himself, a hometown local. I would not want to see this guy leave, honestly. I guess some people have made the argument before that the story of a Troy Stecher is a lot more empowering than the actual player on the ice itself, but at the same time, I still would prefer to keep Stecher than not have him, but if there are discussions going on with Stecher's name, then there's nothing I can do about that personally. Let's go over onto a few other tweets. Rick Dollywall said on TSN 1040 that the Vancouver Canucks have let the Arizona Coyotes know what indeed they can offer. So there's an example of the poker negotiations going on here for the Vancouver Canucks. Let's go back over to David Pagnotta, because he had some more tweets over here from earlier today that kind of tell a little bit of a different story. He says that he is hearing contract talks between the Canucks and Tyler Toffoli are currently in a holding pattern. Channels between Vancouver and the Toffoli's representatives are still open, but in addition to their pursuit of Ekman-Larsson, among others, he is told that Vancouver is also trying to move money. Vancouver has made it known that Sutter and Eriksson are available. Eriksson's agent is assisting in trying to find his client a new home. Both players, Sutter and Eriksson, have a 15-team no-trade list, and then we talk about salaries and cap issues and all that stuff. So, okay, there we go. More names. Eriksson, he's in there. Not a surprise, but he's in there. Let's go over onto a few more tweets over here. We got Taj again. This is what Satir Shah said earlier today on Sportsnet 650. He said that he is not reporting it, but he thinks the draft pick in their offer to the Coyotes is a 2021 first that isn't conditional. Okay. Okay, Jim Benning said he didn't want to use his firsts and seconds to move money. Well, in this scenario, it might appear that we're going to be using it to try to getting a good defenseman like Oliver Ekman-Larsson. Now, that's just speculation. That's Satyr Shah spitting out his opinion. He's not reporting it, but that's what he thinks. So, who knows if it's going to be a 2021 first and a whole bunch of other stuff for Ekman-Larsson. Imagine if it's like a first and Sutter or whatever. Going back to TSN, though, we have ourselves what Moj said also. This kind of relates to the idea of what Satyr Shah was talking about in terms of the offer. Moj also noted on TSN earlier how both teams have exchanged multiple offers over the past few weeks. So this isn't a brand new thing or whatever, it just only entered the media sphere recently, because I believe it was that Elliot Friedman 31 Thoughts thing that kind of pushed this over into the spotlight here. Next up, this is what Andrew Walker said earlier today on Twitter. Not on Sportsnet, he's on Sportsnet, but he's on Twitter too. This is what he said. He's told the talks between Vancouver and Arizona have been happening for the last couple of weeks, not days. This has been a long, complicated process, and while the Bruins are on Ekman-Larsson's list, make no mistake, Vancouver is his #1 preferred destination. Now, before we expand on a little bit more relating to other stuff in the Vancouver Canucks, can we just talk about how good it feels to actually be a team that free agents and high-caliber status players actually want to go to? My buddy Cody over here on Twitter made a very nice tweet talking about how a Vancouver Canucks team that went from this roster 2-3 years ago is now all of a sudden a hotspot of interest for not only UFAs like the Myers, the Benns, and the Russells and the Fentonbergs, but also for actually good players. Speaking about players who want to come to Vancouver, we had a doubling down of Brendan Dillon. And yeah, we made a video about this a few days ago, talking about how Brendan Dillon would be very interested in coming to Vancouver. Well, he was on TSN 1040 earlier today, and he was talking at length about his Vancouver Canucks fandom. Here are some of the quotes. Any Surrey kid would love to play in Vancouver. It would be a place I would be interested in. So that's very blunt, straight up just saying, yeah, I'd be very good with Vancouver. To be a Canuck right now, it's a fun time. It's one of those cities of the top to play in, a good young team. Okay, there's another one, and then all of a sudden the big one over here, it's tweeted out by Taj. This is what Brendan Dillon said that kind of got Canucks fans all giddy about who he is as a fan. I had the Bure posters on the wall. I was a Luongo fan. Any hometown kid would love to play for the Canucks. So, there we go. If there's any more blunt you can get, I don't know how you can achieve it, but Brendan Dillon has been very open about him wanting to play in Vancouver. Now, whether or not that actually has a sense of truth to it, I don't know. I mean, sense of truth as in a legitimate belief that it could actually happen. I'm not doubting the guy's legitimate love for the Canucks growing up with Bure posters and idolizing Luongo and all that stuff. I'm not doubting that. But what I will say here is Brendan Dillon is another defender here, and if the Vancouver Canucks are in a spot where Oliver Ekman-Larsson is in a position where we don't know if he is going to come over here, where the Vancouver Canucks have a decision to make with Stecher, Tanev, etc., where Tyson Barrie is also in these conversations because people are talking about him as a potential UFA target, and now Brendan Dillon is in here too. There's a lot. This is a lot to process, and I have no idea just the whole direction we're going to go down here. Whether or not a Stecher is going to be on the move, or a Brandon Sutter and an Eriksson are going to be included there. If Ekman-Larsson can actually come out over here, and what that would mean for the rest of this decor. Do you move out a Jordy Ben? Do you re-sign somebody? Do you sign a Brendan Dillon in free agency? I have no idea. There's so much going on, and it's just a lot, you know? It's a lot. It really is a lot to process. So if you're a Vancouver Canucks fan like me, this is the evening upload. It's going to be about 6:10, 6:20 when this video goes up on the channel. Chill out with this video over into the night. We got a long weekend coming up ahead of us in terms of rumors and off-season talk and all that. Whether or not the Canucks are going to make a trade, who knows? We know they're trying to move money, but we don't know if that's actually going to come in the form of an Ekman-Larsson trade where they send money over to Arizona, even though it was already reported that they don't want to take icon's salary, or if there are any other extracurricular trades that are made as well. So talk to me in the comments what you think about this whole idea here. What would you want to happen, honestly? Tell me what you want to happen, because I don't even know what I want. But I hope you enjoyed this video. That is Rolls99, and bye.